guys, and welcome back to another video. We're here at the shop after Roseburg's season has concluded. Out of 74 Outlaw carts that race in the Open Division, we end up 7th overall. I'm happy with that, to be honest. First time racing this cart this year after the sprint car season 2 years in a row, and selling my old cart to be able to get the sprint car stuff. But today is a special day in the shop as we are prepping to go to the Redbluff Outlaws on March 5th. Ever since I was 8 years old when I got into the Outlaw carts, it's always been my dream to head to the capital of Outlaw kart racing in Redbluff, California. I'm going to be racing the Open OI class just since it's my first time down there. A little less carts, kids my age and a little bit younger. But it's been my dream and my family's dream to head down there. I've been down there twice so far. Once to pick up the cart, and once when Mason Keene went down there. That was a blast. The track looks fun. It looks racy, and just overall badass tracks around. But it's definitely a double lane track. They just put it in for this week's race. The race is actually going on right now, but they actually moved the bottom in a little bit, and they had the track completely torn down for some events that was happening in the building. Built it back up for this week's race and the remainder of the season. But it's going to be a blast. We're getting the cart ready. We're going to do some daily maintenance, as in take the entire cart down to just the bare lower and just check everything out, do our daily maintenance on the motor, service everything, clean everything to make sure everything's straight and top notch, because it's no joke there. You can't have a bent part and expect to do good there. You have to have everything working together. But we cannot wait. So right, guys, we're here with my dad as he's going to tell you what the first thing we are doing on our road to Redbluff.
So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to check everything in the rear axle assembly, check position, make sure it's where we want it. And then we also want to service the bearings, check over the condition of the axle, the keyways, all the hubs, stuff like that. So as you can see here, I've pulled this apart, completely serviced this bearing here. It's all lubed back up, clean all your components up. Make sure that when you have them sandwiched here that you still have some mobility there. And so now that we've got it all cleaned up and serviced, bring this back in and push this in. Start them by hand.
All right, we got the right side completely taken care of. We're gonna go throw all of our components back on the right side, our axle spacers and our hub, and then we'll move on to the left side. We got our axle clamps on to allow the axle to hold in place and not rock back and forth. Next, we got our axle spacers, and then followed by the hub. We run a double clamp hub, so most hubs will just have one bolt right here. But we run two just in case, say, one strips out somehow. We'll have one extra line of protection. How you get these on, you just hit it down there with a flat blade screwdriver against the crack, and you slide it right against where it's tight against your axle spacers. Then you tighten down the Allens. Then you're good. The left rear taken apart, we just got to undo those two screws, pop the bearing out, clean it. But over here, we got our axle spacers. We got the clamp. We got our double lock hub. And you got our keyway. So the keyway goes right between that crack, same width on that the clamp, to make sure nothing spins, everything stays still. All right, we finished up the left rear, got everything clean, bearings lubed, and just made sure everything there is tight and where it should be. Next, we're going to go to the front end. We're going to clean up all of our spindles. And sometimes after every race, our keen pins will get a little loose. You can probably see that little wobble in there. So you got to make sure you double check all those after every race, tighten them up. Make sure everything feels right. Make sure all of your heim ends are tight. Make sure all your bolts in the front end are good, because if a bolt comes loose in that front end, you're going for a ride. So next, we'll get right to that. Clean up some spindles. And check right here at the left front, we are just pulled a cotter pin out of it. You can see down low as you spin the bolt to tighten up the kingpin. So what usually gives it play after running a race?
Parts wearing, something maybe bent, but we don't have that problem on this. So
yeah, so this is a RFC lower, which not many people run it. What's different is you got this block right here that actually has these little bearings inside of it, and we believe that those might be just a little bit worn out. So after the season or this race at Redbluff,
let's pull the steering arm off right here, and we'll get a little bit better look at it.
Yeah, so we're going to probably after the Redbluff, we're going to pull all that stuff out, replace the bearings, or just get new blocks itself. But you can probably get a good look in there, right there on the top side. You can see that little bearing, and that allows it to pivot back and forth, go up and down just a little bit. But you get this little bit of play in it. And so that's one thing why we make sure to tighten it up. Same thing that goes on with the sprint cars. But except you got right here, you got these little things right here that will cause it to rock back and forth every now and then. So you just got to tighten those up. But we'll get that knocked out and check back with you guys. This is why we do maintenance. I don't know if you can tell, but that is bent a good amount, which that's why I've been feeling some differences in the front end of it, feeling like toes off and stuff. But that is definitely our problem. We got a decent bend in it. I'm surprised the steering didn't feel tight at all. Because usually when you bend your kingpins, your steering will tighten up and get tight spots in it once you get to a certain spot. But I never felt that, so I never looked at the kingpin. But we're going to pull this right side off and see if we got the same problem. Starting to put this left side back together. We end up finding out, other than the kingpin, that arm was also in like a little S bend. So we got on the ground, hammered it, used the vise, and strained it back out. So we should be good on that side. Right side checked out good. We got straight kingpins in the whole front end now, so the front end should be about complete. Just got to do a bolt check on it, and we should be good. The next thing I believe is just change the oil in the motor, and just check a whole bunch of stuff. We got the front tires on, as you see. Next thing up is to adjust the toe by spinning these tie rods. And where do we want to usually get this set at?
We'll generally set them about an 8 to 3/16 of toe out, which means the front of the tires will be out a little bit more than the rear of the tire. The reason why we do that is if it's toe in, it'll be darty. So we don't want it to be darty. We want it to just drive nice and straight, track really nice. And we found that between an 1/8 of an inch and 3/16 of an inch of toe out, it makes it nice and drivable. And we can also use it to tighten up the car too. We can add a little bit of toe out to do that. So generally the way that we do that, we take a set of toe plates, we'll put them on the hubs, and what we'll do, we'll set the right front straight, and then we'll measure the front of the toe plate and the back of the toe plate, and the difference in what it measures is what we end up with toe out.
For a bit of tinkering, where do we end up getting the front end to?
We're about a heavy 1/8 on the toe out. So that, like I said, it seems I've been racing for you for almost about 9 years now. So it seems to be something that we like a lot with you. So like I said, track slicks off a little bit. We can actually add a little bit more and tighten up the car, because basically what will happen is when you go in the corner, that relationship to that right front is a little bit toed out, so it thinks it's actually steered more in a counter steer. So, but yeah, so I like where it's at right now, so we'll make that happen.
As we're working on this, we're watching Redbluff on Fast 4 Media. It's getting a little bit of a thought of what the track will be like, since they just laid down this track this weekend. But it's looking pretty good. Looks like it's pretty even all the way throughout the track. It's a little bit fuzzy, but I'm able to see the gray spots. But it looks like it's a pretty even track, even though the beginner box is out right now for their B main. And I believe 5-minute recess, then I believe the opens or intermediates will come out. But next, I believe we got the rear end done. We got the front end done. I believe the last thing is get the power plant all serviced. and just check over all of our wires, because injection motors are fast, but you also got a crap ton of wiring you gotta make sure nothing happens to, or this motor will not. Next step on the process will be dismounting and mounting our new rubber. So here we have a 11 burst tire, and for Redbluff, we got some brand new Hoosiers to go on it. Same tires that we run on the sprint cars. I personally like the Hoosiers better. Big difference. Same size, pretty much the same compound, but you got a lot more tread on this. But also the sidewalls on these, where it rolls over, is a lot thinner on these bursts. But overall, I'd say now is the process of beating the tire. Some people will just use like WD-40 and beat it. What we use is WD-40. We'll either put it in this 2 different kind of tire bands. We got a metal one, then we got just a pretty much something you wrap it with. And what does a tire band really do?
It keeps it so when you're airing it up, you have a lot of tire pressure in there to beat it, which is to actually seat this bead. Okay, get it up over this little ridge right here. Well, when you're doing that, you don't want the tire to grow. You want to be able to control how much it grows. So this just wrapped around here keeps it from growing too much.
Green flag. Straight at him, straight back to the inside of the racetrack.
Left rear is on. There it goes. All right, tires are on. We got our tire pressure set, and next we'll check Stagger. All right, Dad, so what does Stagger do on these carts?
So the Stagger basically controls how the rear end of the car steers, basically. These outlaw carts, they spend so much time with their front wheels on the ground. So Stagger can dictate how the car enters the corner because it has a solid rear axle. That means the right side tire needs to be bigger than the left side tire in circumference, so that it can actually get the drift around the corner. We can run them straight up as far as even tire size. We have done that before in the past. Kind of depends on track conditions. The drier the track is, the less Stagger we run generally. So basically, if we measure around this tire, and let's say it's 38 inches, and we measure the left side tire and it's only 37 inches, then we have 1 inch of Stagger. That's how we refer to it. It's the difference in circumference from the right rear tire to the left rear tire. More Stagger you run, generally the freer the car is. Less Stagger, the tighter the car.
All right, guys, exciting night in the shop. Number 1, Angelo Cornett. Huge fan of him. I have a lot of respect for the kid, but first career win in the opens in his career. But then also, we got the cart about 100% done. We still need to change the oil, but we just wanted to get her all cleaned up and looking good before we close up shop for the night. But she is pretty close to ready. We're excited. We got everything cleaned up. We got everything bullet checked. Rear end's cleaned up. Front end's all good. I mean, it's ready. Only thing that sucks about pulling the oil on this sucker is it's not where like it normally would be on the side. You gotta pull the motor off the mount because it's right under there. So you gotta pull it off the mount. Somebody has to lift it up, tilt it, and somebody has to drain the oil. So it's a fun process. But me and Dad had a lot of fun in the shop. He had fun explaining everything to you guys. But we're gonna call it a night in the shop. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you everybody that is helping me get the Redbluff, Keen Racing, Covered Bridge Brewing, Vanderstool Trucking, and
Asher Dean Racing.
Asher Dean Racing, yes, thank you. And just everybody that believes in me. But I hope you guys have a great day. I know we had one here, and I'll see you guys in part number 2 of this video.